Okay. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the AudioVisio Podcast with your hosts, Adriana and Matt. Matt couldn't be here with us today, unfortunately, but I am still just as eager to talk with today's guest, Elijah Russ. Say hello, Elijah.
Hi.
Elijah Russ is a multi-instrumentalist and songwriter based out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Having been exposed to many different artists and musical styles from childhood, Elijah has been fed a taste for music that seems to be unsatisfied by just one genre. And now in adulthood, he considers his sound to be heavy soul rock with influences of jazz, Latin, blues, reggae, and country. His education in music recording, his experience in organizing nonprofit music festivals, and a 9-month tour with Harper and Midwest Kind has allowed him to be ever surrounded by those of his own kind, musicians, artists, and lifelong friends. We've talked to Elijah once before, and we're very happy to have him back on again to discuss with us his vision as a musician and songwriter and the spirituality of artistry. So, Elijah, how have you been since we last
Really good. That was such a great intro.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
that was awesome.
You deserve it.
I'm gonna write all that down and use it. Can I redo my website?
Okay,
in
wicked.
your words.
Wicked.
I'm good. Things are good. I'm worn out.
Yeah.
Summertime is like almost over, and I'm very excited about it.
Has it been a bustling summer for you?
It's been crazy. Like we went from like a year or some time off to like just like 0 to like 1,000 with gigs and weddings and all kinds of musical happenings,
Yeah.
And a lot of people, especially in the wedding thing, a lot of people have been like rescheduling stuff from last year to this year, so it's like double kind of busy. And I guess I just bit off more than I could chew, and I'm tired. Next year's gonna be great. Winter's gonna be great. I'm excited to finish my album and stuff.
Your album? So that's what is that gonna be called? What is that called?
So I have like the big album with the collective.
Yes.
Which is gonna be called Sandcastles. And then I'm doing like this like lo-fi hip hop kind of instrumental project, and I'm putting them both out at the same time and doing like a book to kind of talk about just the whole period of time. I think we've talked about that a little bit.
We did. Yes, we did discuss it. I do remember that collaborative project. And you said that's kind of all like not all at the same time, but surrounding the winter of 2022, it looks like some releases of those.
Yeah, I've had high hopes to do it this, this spring and then this summer, and then, I know how this fall is going to be, and, just kind of getting readjusted to life in the fast lane, and what that's like for me and what I want it to be like.
Of course. What does downtime look for you though? Like when you do feel burned out, what are you doing to kind of relax in between sessions, so to speak?
Well, since I've been like kind of burning out, I've just kind of not been like doing my regular routine kind of stuff, my like weekly kind of, or like doing it at different times, procrastinating more than usual. I've been playing a lot of video games.
In the name of self-care,
Yes, I bought myself a cake.
Good for you, as you should. It's the rite of passage for any adult to be able to just buy a cake for themselves whenever they wish.
Yeah, I don't think I've been taking the best care of myself lately, but I don't know. I'm like, those are the things that are like, that's what I want to do right now. I don't want to work on like an album right now. Like I don't want to, I just don't want to do that stuff right now. So I'm not doing it right now. I don't wait until I want to do it. And I feel like winter's going to be good. And, I just need a season change. It's been hot, and that's been a whole nother thing too. So I'm taking it easy on my days where I don't absolutely have to do anything, you know. And that's been cool.
So you were recently at, you had a recent performance at Meyer Gardens, was it?
Yes, Frederick Meyer
Yeah,
Gardens. That was
Frederick
really
Meyer
cool.
Gardens. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah,
Because we were
it
talking
was.
about it before it happened, but yeah, discuss how it went. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so we had like crazy thunderstorms that day, and it almost got canceled, but they ended up, so instead of like we were gonna start at 7, they moved it to 5:30, but they made that decision at like 4 o'clock. Like I wasn't
Oh,
even there yet. I was like still at my house. You know?
yeah, yeah.
And my keyboard player came and picked me up, and we were like at the gas station, and he was like, "Yo, dude," it was like 4:45. He's like, "We have to play in 45 minutes." I was like, "What are you talking about?" You know? He's like, "They changed the time. There's storms coming through." I was like, "Oh no!" So from that moment, for for a while, I was like stressed out. I was like posting and stuff, being like, "Hey, if anybody can still make it, like, sorry, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's an hour and a half earlier than what it's supposed to be." Um, and like the way things were unfolding, you know, we were only going to be able to play like 1 or 2 songs. And so we did that at like 6 o'clock, you know, and the guy that set it up was super cool. His name's Ralston Bowles. He's awesome. And he was like, "All right, so basically we'll just like you guys play a couple songs and then we'll do like a few songs, and then as long as the rain like holds out, then we'll just keep switching back and forth, you know."
Okay,
I was
yeah.
like, "Well, that sounds cool," but it was really hard for me to like communicate that to like people that I was trying to get to come with, my mom and you know whoever else.
Of course.
And so I was just like, "All right, just come and see what happens."
Just
You know?
arrive at any time, whatever is happening.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. And there were still like, you know, I don't know, I think like 300 or 400 people there or something like that, which was nice.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
like
great.
a nice outdoor amphitheater and like gardens, you know, like the
Yeah,
Meyer family is super rich. They have like a chain grocery store all throughout like the Midwest,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's just a really nice spot. Um, yeah, so we played our few songs. We played like 4 or 5 songs in the beginning and we thought we were only getting 1 or 2. So like after we'd like stop a song and be like looking to the side of the stage and be like, are we good?" And I didn't
Yeah,
see anybody telling us we couldn't like keep playing, so we just kept playing another one and whatever. So we were playing every song like it was our last song, you know.
yeah, of
Which
course.
there's something kind of cool about that too, you know.
Yeah.
So we did that and we played like, yeah, like 4 or 5 songs, and then they went on for like an hour, and the storm like almost came. So there was like a huge one to the north and then a huge one coming up from the south, and they were supposed to meet in the middle, like
Yeah.
right in Grand Rapids, right? And it was crazy. They just like, I guess like just both swerved, and
Oh,
we had a clear night all night, and it was awesome. So they played their whole set, and because we started an hour and a half early, there was like a bunch of time at the end. So they did all their songs, and then we played a whole nother set after that. And then by that time, a bunch of our people were there. So it was sweet. It turned out. It was just very like erratic.
yeah. Yeah, like
Yeah,
touch and go, but the execution was like mint.
yeah, it was
Like,
on. It was
yeah,
on for sure. It was
yeah.
really, really cool. It was you know, it was it happened really fast just because like my mind was like all over the place. That
Of
when we were
course.
finally playing, I was like, "Oh shit, we're here." And then just
Yeah,
trying to like take that in while, you know, it was just like it was really fast.
I feel
So
you.
they're gonna have us back next year for the series, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more on schedule,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, nicer weather.
Yeah, yeah, it was still beautiful out.
Oh, good, good.
It rained while the sun was out for like 10 minutes right before everybody played, and then it was
That's
fine.
it. Then that's
It was
it.
great. Yeah.
music. It's amazing.
Ben, my bass player, he's so cute. He goes, "We're playing in a rainbow today."
Aw, what a guy.
And yeah, and he like, because he knew I was like so stressed the fuck out. Yeah, he's like, "But we're playing a rainbow." I'm like, "Dude, I love you."
I can picture him like while you're playing songs, he tries to like catch your eye and he's like, dude, look up in the sky. And you're like, I'm trying to play guitar. Like, oh, it's there. It's like, look at the rainbow.
That would be him. That would be
Yeah.
him. We were gonna do the opening ceremonies for this event art prize, which is like a big thing here. But that got canceled. So that's it for the year, I think, unless I can get an album release show going and have an album done, but I don't know. I just need to get through this weekend.
Just get through the next 10 seconds and every 10 seconds after that.
Yeah, well, I have like 10 or 12 days off after this
Ooh.
weekend. I got to play in Nashville on Friday, and then I have to be back in Michigan like by like noon the next day.
Mission.
We're gonna leave Thursday and get there early, which is gonna be nice. And we play Friday, and then we're gonna leave right after the gig, drive home. I'll sleep for a couple hours, and then I have a wedding Saturday and Sunday. And
Oh
then
my goodness.
yeah,
Oh my.
so and like just the thought of that has been like crippling me. Like I'm like, I just want to be in a cave and play my stupid samurai games and smoke weed. You know?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, it almost becomes like it becomes paralyzing when you know you have something very important to look forward to, and
Mhm,
almost like,
mhm. But it's cool. It's cool. It's a great life, you know.
oh, of course.
I get to play music for a job.
Yeah,
Sweet.
so yeah, it's really cool. But you
Yeah.
play music, but you also write music, right?
Yeah.
So when you write parts, you're part of the Elijah Russ collective, or the front of it rather. And so when you write parts for other band members, do
Yeah.
you write it by hand on music sheets, or do you use go online and write parts and put
No,
any notes?
I'll use like software
Okay, of
and
course,
like play it in, you know.
of course.
Um I have like most of the instruments at home except for drums. So I'll program the drums, but they usually sound pretty good.
Yeah,
And I have like nice plugins and stuff which are like sampled with real like musicians and stuff.
that's awesome.
So it's pretty passable for demos and getting the idea out. And honestly, like the dynamics of the songs change, but the parts like pretty much stay the same.
Okay,
You know, like I'll bring them to my friends and stuff and the people who play for me and who I'm like hiring and whatever.
of course.
But we're all, you know, it's whatever. They're like, no, this works, like, you know, but it's because I spend like a lot of time. I'm like an overthinker, you know, so I like play out all the different scenarios of like how a part could go, you know. I'll get like super specific on like a drum part or piano part, like how the groove can actually like function with this piece of music
Of
or with this
course.
melody or with this chord structure, you know,
Yeah.
and just try it a bunch of different ways before I like, and I'll pick the one that I like the best and then send that to them, you know. But then when we all get together, then I have a bunch of like suggestions as well for
Exactly.
how it could go. And it ends up that one of them might do that and that's what they like to do, you know. And I'm like, all right, cool, stick with that. Or they'll do something that I like don't know about or like did not foresee. And I'm like, that's cool too. Keep that in there. But for the most part, it's like it all stays the same, which is really nice, you know.
Precisely.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to like do that and write it out. And then I will turn it into manuscript paper if like horn players need to read it or keyboard players. My keyboard player sometimes likes to have like specific licks written out, you know. But they all listen really well too, so it's not always necessary. But it is good to keep record of that kind of stuff, you know. I like to just have like the music written out just to have it written out, you know.
Just to have it, yeah.
But it is nice too to, if somebody does ask for it, to have it on hand, you know.
Precisely.
But it's more of like writing stuff out, especially by hand too, in like pen and ink by like candlelight at the piano. It's more of like a novelty thing for it, but it's sweet, you know.
Of course, yeah, your yellowed paper.
Yeah. Like parchment paper.
Pricking your finger for blood because you ran out of ink. You must get the music out.
Exactly that.
Right. I understand this. It's a little novelty. It's a little hyperbolic, but still very beautiful for film and poetry.
I got these candles that I put on top of my piano, like wedding candles, you know, just like white unscented ones, because I wanted them to like melt all over it, you know,
like the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. But they're like the ones that like make a little cup, because they're like meant for weddings and like stuff, so they like are supposed to be like not messy.
Yeah.
I'm like so mad, so I have to burn all these candles and just like, it's so dumb.
You try to be all like cool, and it just turned into something beautiful and safe. You're like, no, that's not what I want.
It's something safe, yeah. Yeah, I'm like, no, I want to ruin my childhood piano, please.
You still have your piano from childhood?
Yeah, we had this piano for 20 years, 21 years it's been.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've moved it around like so much. Never had it tuned, and but the range that I play in, for the most part, you know, want to get like a little higher up on the keys, it's like kind of out, and then a little lower on the keys, like but where I don't usually spend a lot of time, especially for like writing and stuff, I'm pretty much just right in here, you know,
middle C, yeah.
And maybe like 2 octaves below and above that, like maybe, you know?
Yeah.
But that range is still very much in tune, and it just has this like cool character to it. It's like been moved around and like slapped around so much, it's incredible that it's still like in the condition that it's in, but
it's still kicking. Yeah,
and it's kind of like, I've been thinking about it a lot lately, because my mom wanted to throw it out, and I was like, no. She's like, you take it to your house then. This was like probably, I don't know, 7 years ago when I first moved out. And since then I've moved it around, just like kind of like, I don't want to get rid of it, like, well, whatever. But now I'm like really kind of like, this is like an heirloom type thing. Like, I want to keep this one around. I've like spent a lot of time with that and written a lot of music with it, you know. Gone to space a lot with it, you know. Stuff like that. If
anyone's looking to actually write out music, sheet music, musical notation for themselves or for parts, what software do you recommend?
So I use, just because I'm like more guitar oriented, I use excuse me, geez. I use Guitar Pro. It's a really cool software that, like, for me, I can like put it in just as tablature, you know, and then like do the rhythms for it, but then it will turn that into notation. But MuseScore is really nice too. But I mostly use Guitar Pro just because I'll play the parts on guitar or whatever, piano. But you can do it in Logic too. Like, Logic will do notation for you.
No way.
Yeah, if you're playing in MIDI and you just record whatever in MIDI and you do it to like a tempo and then like quantize it and do that whole thing. It'll there's a section in the editor that has the manuscript, which is really cool too.
Is that the same for Ableton? Does Ableton have that feature?
I don't know. I don't use Ableton. I don't think so, but maybe they do. But either way, with either of those, you can, as long as you have like clean MIDI, that's like lined up right or whatever, or close to like how you want, you can export that MIDI and drop it into like a free program like MuseScore or whatever, and do it like that. So if you just import the MIDI file, then it'll take that and plug it in.
Arrange it as it should be in bars. Yeah, that is brilliant. Okay, thanks.
And then it's fun to like use those notation programs or whatever and just write things out like on manuscript like that, and then hear it played out, you know? Like I like the way that music just looks on manuscript paper, like the way that it like just flows across the page, and it's fun to like make art out of that sometimes.
Yeah, connect the dots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what sound does this what song is the picture of this bear? And you just like draw notes to look like a bear, and it just sounds like chaos, but cool.
That kind of thing. Yeah. That's the idea.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
My bad.
Yes, yeah, everything is good. It's a little delayed, but I'm just gonna keep going through. So you kind of just broke down, well, not kind of. So in your words, Elijah, I have found something from your Facebook, and I surmised it. It's from a post you made in January on your Elijah Russ music page, discussing the origins, the evolution of music. And I want to just read some of it to you. Evolution of music. Yeah, evolution of music comes from culture, but advancement in tech equates that. Music is just 12 notes and rhythm. Disco uses synth, 4 on the floor, looped music, which laid the foundation for modern electronic music. 80s had the synth, and keyboards became more accessible, and the sound produced by them more malleable. R&B redefined blues with its elements of jazz, gospel rock, and blues. I think I accidentally added that again. R&B in 1970 could be considered neo-soul today, with drums behind the beat and limited instrumentation. Rap is similar to jazz. Poetry, spoken word over music, the improvisational aspect of it is one of the closest spiritual connections to the ether one could have.
Yeah.
So I found that really quite interesting, because I hadn't read that when we first talked, and I wanted to discuss kind of the connection to spirituality in your music. And now that I actually have seen that when you're thinking your thoughts, it comes to you naturally. Did you want to kind of touch on that and discuss, elaborate more?
Yeah, I honestly, I'm glad you brought that up, because I kind of forgot that I did that.
Then you proceed to say poetry, spoken word over music. The improvisational aspect of it is one of the closest spiritual connections to the ether one can have. And what I would like to know is what kind of spiritual connection you are talking about that happens or becomes available when one is creating music. How is it one of the closest spiritual connections to the ether one can have? How did you come to that thought?
It's so pure when it's happening, like, and people that like experience it too will profess to it as like feeling like a channeling kind of feeling from this like deeper place. And when I say the ether, I mean the essence of whatever, the beginning of whatever this is, you know?
Yeah.
You know, when I think it's important for, this is what I try and tell like some of my students, I guess, is like, it's important that you learn like all of the language so that you can just like speak it, but then you can just like also like just blabber, you know, and then like let the universe kind of blabber through you, you know.
Of course.
Or speak, really truly speak through you, you know. And I think the more, you know, and the more technical prowess one has, the better that they can tell that story, but that's not always the case either. You know, I think a lot of it is just like having like a pure intention behind what you're putting out into the world and for who is receiving it, you know, whether it's a physical person or ancestors or, you know, the universe or God or who, you know, whatever you want to, whoever you want to do it for, you know. I think for me personally, it intensifies in different situations. Like when there's like a lot of energy going on in a room, you know, like for me at a show or whatever else, and there's like, we're in this like heavy jam outside of all of the music we've prepared, and we're just like doing the thing, you know, and you know, somebody yelling in the crowd because somebody did something cool kind of delegates the jam, and that person keeps doing that, you know, and like whatever else, and it becomes this like collective experience, you know, that you can have like as an individual, you know. I'm just like experiencing it at different levels too. I mean, the same thing can happen just sitting in my basement playing piano, you know, and like unhinging, you know, but knowing that there's a higher thing out there, a higher energy, a higher being, you know, spiritual mycelium, you know, and tapping into that.
What phases and growth and phases of yourself have you been through to ultimately become the one that you are now, even though you're still so young? So you're saying you love elders and storytelling and
yeah. And I mean, every experience is been a building block, you know.
Of course.
And I early on, I guess I got some really good advice from, I love older people. Like I love them so much, and have like always had like a really good kinship with older people since I was a child. Like they're just who I gravitate towards. Like I like stories, you know, and the moral of the story and life lessons, you know. One thing somebody said is like there's always something to learn from like everybody that you come across and everything that you go through, and that's kind of like was just a huge relief, you know. Number one, that like even if things are terrible, there's like something to learn. And you know, I think all of that stuff just builds us into who we are if we want it to, you know. I think there's a difference between things happening to you and things happening for you. And huge, like that's a huge mindset, you know. And I think even bad things that happen are still, you know, that's the universe providing me a service in one way, you know.
Of course.
And yeah, so yeah.
You say there's a difference between things happening for you and happening, like, I forgot what you said, but like the antithesis of that, the opposite, or
happening to you.
Happening to you.
Yeah,
precisely. But in the manner of being a creative kid and teenager and in your early 20s, did you find yourself going through phases of your own creation, of your finding out about yourself, rather than having external things happen, rather to or for you? Was there anything internally shifting? Were there any tectonic plates shifting? And are you able to categorize those plates?
For sure, but none of it would have happened if it wasn't for other people, you know.
Okay, yeah.
You know, like I would be, you know, I'm trying to think. When I first started writing music, I was in the 8th grade. And I had joined a high school band, which was like the absolute shit, you know. I was like
Yeah.
so hyped on it.
Yeah.
And we all got together and we had like learned a couple of like cover songs to show up and just like play together. Like I'd never even like played with anybody before, you know. And then it was like going all right, I guess. And we were like, hey, we could like write some stuff, and none of us knew how to write music. You know? So we just kind of like started throwing like shit at the wall, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you know, we would like have our like shows in high school, and like our peers were into it, and that was cool. And I started writing like a lot of stuff in a similar way to like how I do it now. I just didn't like have the technology stuff, so
Okay.
I'd like be like, you know, doing voice memos on my iPod or something.
Yeah. That's how you, yeah.
Like beatboxing or like,
Yeah, that's
you
what
know,
I
or you know, anything like that, which is great, and all great tools. It's like I
Oh yeah.
still write like that sometimes if I'm on the go or whatever, and I don't have my stuff, you know, like, which is great to be able to do that. We'll take like my dad, for instance, right? Same set of skills, grew up in a different time period, right? My dad went to one of the first integrated schools in the South, as like a 6-year-old boy. My grandma, his mom, was like a nurse during the civil rights movement, you know, and people were like, you know, people she was like saving their life would be like screaming racial slurs at her, you know, and like all kinds of crazy stuff. So he grew up in that, you know, and they like didn't trust like white people, you know, and for good reason. I don't blame them, you know. But a lot of, for me, career and like entrepreneurial advice I've gotten has been from white people in Michigan who own businesses. My dad can't hear that from those kinds of people. He can't take
It's
that
not
advice.
applicable. Yeah.
Well, it could be, but he's too proud, and I don't blame him, you know. But those circumstances have allowed me to make connections to go down a different career path than just doing bar gigs
Yeah.
and things of that sort, you know. Not that
Yeah.
there's anything wrong with that, you
No,
know.
didn't think that. No, no, no.
But I think our experience is really what like we want it to be. I knew that I didn't have knowledge to do the things that I wanted to do. And so I had to find ways to get it. And I got that knowledge from whoever, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't want to, I'm not going to say that that's all like, that was all me, because a lot of it was circumstantial. And a
Yeah.
lot of it was just happening to run into somebody and having a good conversation and being a good person, and we vibed or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the individual and the drive, you know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and really having an imagination, you know,
To see what you want, to see what you can accomplish. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
and to know that like there are ways to get there. It might not be exactly when we want it to, and it may not look exactly at all how we thought it would, you know.
Yeah.
But there are ways there, you know.
Precisely. That's thank you for sharing that story, because it does shine kind of a light on what I was saying as well. Because you are correct in that it does rely on the individual, and definitely the times that they are in, and the advantages given to them at the time. You're younger, right? So to be less jaded is to be assumed. Your father's filter is definitely understandable, or how the paranoia and the resistance is 100% understandable. You coming from a younger generation, seeing many sides of the coin, you have this ability to have a less hardened hard about it. Not saying he had one, but about that specific situation.
For sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You
Yeah.
would be correct in saying that, yes. Somebody taught me that early on, that if you like just kind of be an anchor in conversation, then people will like reveal themselves to you.
I try doing that.
You don't have to dig into people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just be calm. I don't know. That's just been my like general life approach. I don't like to like get people riled up or like make people feel one way or the other. I just like them to like come as they are and, and unravel,
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely like to be that person that creates a safe place for people to talk to.
Yeah.
So I hope that you've experienced that. I've definitely.
I would never be like, what the fuck, Adriana? Like, you can't ask me that. Are you serious? I would never say that.
I would just ask it in a different way, and you wouldn't know any better. Get my answer.
Finally,
journalism. Well, journalism to the end, right? Like,
that's right.
Get your answer. Yeah. Where'd you go?
I went to my destination was Glacier National Park.
Okay, dope.
Northern Montana, closer to Canada. And
Montana, for when you've been everywhere else. Sorry.
Honestly, Northern Montana is
gorgeous.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Like, it's Canada.
It's unreal. Like, it's basically Canada. Like, and,
I know it.
There is a sister park to Glacier, Waterton Lake.
Okay.
I think it's called.
Okay.
And it's basically just Canada's Glacier National Park, But yeah, it was awesome. I saw all the animals. Like in the first day, I saw a black bear, I saw a grizzly bear cub, and I didn't stick around very long for that. I did see moose. I saw foxes and elk and like fucking reindeer.
No way, that's dope.
All kinds. It's like all kinds of mountain goats, all kinds of stuff.
So you were there were you like, did you need to get out of town for a bit? Were there planned performances? Or was it kind of just like an Eat, Pray, Love Elijah Russ version?
The latter, yes.
Okay.
Eat, Pray, Love in cowboy country.
In cowboy country. That's great. Okay.
Yeah. I ended up playing a lot out there.
So it came naturally.
I ended up playing on the street a few times. I sat in on a couple gigs. I got offered a couple gigs out there. Nice. But I wasn't trying to do any of that, and I didn't have all the equipment that I wanted to do it, and I just didn't feel like dealing with any of it. So
it's like a Shaky Grave situation.
Yeah, I guess so. What's that? What's the situation? I know.
Oh my God. You'd love, Shaky Graves, but like you're just traveling with like your drum is on your hip and your harmonica is on your shoulder and like your guitar is on your back.
Pretty much.
Your kick drum is on your shoe.
I had a little wagon in my computer and a Bluetooth speaker and like a MIDI controller for a pedal board, and just like ran like a really small setup on like a camping table.
That's dope.
And, yeah, it all fit in my backpack. It was awesome. But I was there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how long you're out.
I was there for 2 weeks, I think. My whole trip was like a little over 3 weeks.
Okay.
Driving on both sides is like, about a week for there and back. And then for the last couple days, I was super hiked out. I like went
Wow.
hiking with, like some 20-year-olds that were working out there at one of the hotels. They'd been out there for like 2 months and were like super conditioned and like healthy.
Oh
And
gosh.
they took me on a 13-mile hike with like 4,000 feet of elevation gain. I was dying, dude. I was like stopping to like smoke cigarettes. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
awful.
yeah.
But after that hike, I was like, my legs are toast. Anything, I've done everything that I can do that's like drivable, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I ended up going down to Denver. I drove 14 and a half hours in a
Oh my
day
God, that's dope. I
and
do
got to
that.
Denver that night. It was awesome. It was awesome. And like stayed with one of my really good friends, Meg. She's such a sweetheart. She's a friend from home who moved down there. And we had never gotten like one-on-one time, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
We could always been in group settings, and that was just really, really nice. And I met
yeah.
up with some other people down there, and and on some dates, and had some of the best food of my life, best vegan food of my life,
Yeah.
which was awesome.
I was gonna say, what if you were on your own Eat, Pray, Love? What are the eats you had? What's some of the best foods?
Shout out to City City in Denver, Colorado. Also, Denver Biscuit Company. You
Okay.
guys are awesome.
If it makes its way out there, I hope to hear it.
That was some of the best food of my life. As far as Montana, I nothing was really that memorable that I ate there, to be honest.
Yeah.
I went out to a few different places, and it was all just kind of
The same. Yeah, the same American stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, barbecue.
it's all shipped in, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But
so
I'm a
yeah,
foodie. Yeah.
yeah. No, it was really when I got to Denver that the food thing, I was like, oh my God, delicious food.
Yeah. You're not vegan yourself, are you?
I'm not.
Just
But
tried it.
after I ate at that City O place, I was like, if there was more of this like around, I would just
Yeah.
eat this all the time. I
Yeah.
felt so good afterwards. It was so nice, you know.
It's great.
I actually did like get some. I have been getting more like plant-based food just to like keep it at home, you know,
Yeah.
uh, which has been cool.
Salvage the body before it permanently just disintegrates.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I still like I have a fucking Burger King from like 3 blocks from my house, and I eat
Uh-oh.
that way too
Yeah.
much, you know.
Uh-oh.
So I try and throw in like the nice stuff, you know.
So,
Just break some of that up so I don't eat like garbage all the time.
well, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can't consistently eat Whoppers all the time, but they're fucking delicious. Excuse me, sorry. What is then one word to describe your trip? How would you describe it? How did it make you feel, Elijah?
Um, oh my gosh, I know the word too. It's on the tip of my tongue. I was saying it like constantly. But uh now I'm like freaking out because I can't remember something. Um Tenacity. Like, and yeah, that was the lesson. Um yeah, it's hard to describe, I guess. I couldn't put the whole thing in like one word. Um the trip was amazing because of being tenacious, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well then,
one foot in front of the other. Like I had some crazy shit happen in the beginning of the trip, you know.
okay.
And like just needed to like power through it mentally, you know.
Did it happen before you left or while you were on the trip at the
While I
beginning?
was on the so I went out there with a girl that I was seeing for a couple months, and like in the first 3 days it just went like super south, like very rapidly. and that sucked. I ended up like dropping her off at some fucking random store, and
Oh shit.
and she asked me to, and I was like, all right, whatever, like, okay, I'm not gonna hold you hostage, but it was wild.
That's wild.
And it like fucked with me hard.
Of course.
And but I was like, I came on this trip to like have a good experience.
Yeah.
And this is part of that good experience. I know that, and I have to believe that. And that thought, and just maintaining that thought, allowed me to have a good trip, have an amazing trip.
You're meant to be doing it on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I never felt like I was on my own, because I kept meeting I kept meeting all these awesome people, and just,
yeah, exactly. And to think the experiences you couldn't have created or enjoyed because you had, not to say like, I don't know the person, but from what you simply just said, it seemed like there was like an energy around it that probably would have hindered a lot of experiences that you ended up having. Probably
yes,
wouldn't
absolutely.
have been able to.
None of that would have happened.
Yeah. So who's to say, right?
I'm grateful for that,
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Well, I'm sad that didn't work out for you. I don't. But I'm glad you. Again, I was gonna say, I don't know how you feel. I don't. But again, I'm really happy for you that you got to experience that at such a young age too. Like, you're only 26, so like you need to have that experience. Like, you need to have like a fucking soul trip. Not saying you haven't, been on them before, but you need to do that.
Yeah, and I want to do a lot more of it too.
Yeah.
Do a lot more of it.
Yeah. I want to fucking
it's important. It's like that to me is when I take trips like that is when I feel the most amount of growth in a period of time.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, like when I I'll be like on my way home from these trips and just be like, gosh, if I could just figure out how to stay out here, or if I didn't have this thing going on that I had to, because if I didn't have like this stupid wedding thing that I felt committed to, which I'm really not obligated to at all. I just, for some reason, was like, I need to get home and do this. I totally didn't have to. I totally could have stayed out there and like actually gigged, and done all that stuff and like been fine, which is a really cool thing to like experience and know that like I just went on this trip and like was completely winging it and like could have like just started a new life in northern Montana.
Okay, so it's the weddings that brought you back? Or
yeah, I'm in the corporate band thing,
Well, even what you're saying, like, to be honest, I really relate to that. What you're saying was almost very creepy, because that's a very similar thought I had only days ago. Is I could literally just leave and just go.
Yeah, you could.
I literally have nothing here for me. I don't have kids. I don't have fucking fuck.
Right.
And it's like, but what? And so for me, you're saying, yeah, it's the weddings bringing you back, and like, I'm not here to put words in your mouth or anything, but for me, myself, I know especially, it's like there's something bringing me back, and it's I'm not ready. Like, and I don't know what it is that I'm not ready for, but as soon as I get out there, I get scared. It's exciting, then it gets scary. And I always find myself saying, oh, I need to get back because of this really important thing that I have to get to. But really, I don't. I just say that to as many people as I can, because if it's in as many people as it can be, then I have to hold myself to that. But that's a crutch.
Yeah.
That's a crutch. That's a mind game you play with yourself till you don't anymore.
Holy shit, that's crazy. You're so right. Yeah, I feel that 100%. Those are like inner thoughts we're speaking about. Wow.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Nice to hear that out loud.
Yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. You get it.
That's I get cool. It. I do. I get just I'm gonna edit this out, but I'm very Hush. It's right in my ears too.
Oh, no. Is it really?
Yes.
I'm so tired. My little brother.
Oh, tend to him, yeah.
No, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm doing a podcast. Dick, you just hurt the interviewer's ear with your phone.
I couldn't take Let's see what.
Nah, that's cool. Okay. Sorry.
So good. I forget what I was gonna say, but that's okay because I was probably gonna go on a tangent, but I definitely do understand what you're saying. See, I get distracted so easily. It's not very good for what I'm doing. So I just want to make sure. So what do you want to have written on your epitaph?
What's an epitaph?
Or on your tombstone? Sorry, the epitaph is what's written on the tombstone. What do you want engraved on your tombstone?
I don't know.
Right on.
Yeah. Something corny, probably. I don't know.
Okay, no.
Loving husband and father. I don't know. Something that like whatever like I said that touched the most people.
Okay, yeah.
Out in the world, you know.
The most belted out lyric at your concert.
That, yeah, or even just something I said that, like, I don't know, resonated with a lot of people, you know.
Yeah, I can see that.
That'd be cool.
Well, that would be dope. Have like,
yeah. What was the most prolific thing I said out loud in the world, you know?
Yeah. You're gonna have to have someone following you, keeping notes.
Yeah, right.
Transcribing your whole life. Yeah, just for that one soundbite at the end.
I don't know. That's a tough one. What do you want on your tombstone?
On mine, you know, I think it's such a funny thing because the tombstone, it's how you want to be remembered, and how I'm viewed by so many people, so different. I don't know. And it's about whose like hands it is in to write it down, like who's in charge of my life, and like I don't know where I'm gonna be at or when I'm gonna die. So like it's crazy to think that somewhere around your house you have to have it written down, like please write this in case I'm dead. And they have to just find it. Cause like who do you tell and who knows?
I have been thinking about that constantly. My mom has been trying to get me to write a will because she's like, what if something happens to you? And like, what's going to happen with all your guitars and like all your shit? Like, I don't want the wrong people coming in and taking your stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, but if I write it down, then that means it's a possibility that it's going to happen.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I don't want that.
We don't need that bad juju here, Ma. Okay, we don't need that.
No, don't put that evil on me. Not wrong, but I'm like, nah, like whatever. If y'all fight over it, I don't want to deal with that. Y'all can fight over it and figure it out.
Yeah, y'all get at it. So it is 9:26. I just want to let you know that I am planning on wrapping it up. I do just have a few more questions. Again, I just want to check in with how you're feeling and making sure you're okay.
I'm great.
Great.
Thanks for asking. That's really kind.
Well, of course. Well, I know people get restless or need water or something. So. I don't know. I go for a while. I'm very influenced by the Lex Friedman podcast, and it's an artificial intelligence podcast on YouTube. And he goes for like 3-4 hours sometimes. And I'm like, that's a lot. But then even the people that interview are like, we've been talking for too long. He's like, okay, yeah, let's just wrap this up. So
that's funny.
But it's interesting shit. It's like the study of consciousness. And it's some of the podcast episodes I want to send to you after.
Please do.
But yeah, I think even like I'm not saying I get it. I'm saying I'm interested. There's a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't understand a lot of what they're saying, but you can at least try. And if you're interested, it's great. It's great entertainment. It's like watching a sporting match.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sure there's some nuggets in there, you know?
Oh, there's nuggets. You can
Little nuggets.
mine it. So if you have actually, yeah, okay, I'm gonna ask, then I'm gonna have to step away for 1 second because I have to deal with my cats fighting. So
Oh, you can go do that.
yeah, okay, my cat, I'll be like 1 minute. Is that okay? So if money wasn't an issue, okay. What guitar are you getting? Les Paul, Gibson? What you doing?
Nice. That's a cool question.
Jimi Hendrix's last guitar he ever used?
No.
No.
Piece of shit.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't know. I have.
I would probably. Okay. Two avenues.
Okay.
I would either want a really nice custom shop PRS, like super custom though, you know what I mean? Like I can get picky about it.
Yeah.
Because I had one that I didn't like after a while. But they sound really great, and the right ones can play really great.
Okay.
However, if I could have any guitar that I wanted, I would probably want the guitar that David Gilmour played for the solo of Time on Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, wow. How did
The whole rig.
Yeah, the whole setup. How did that become influential? How did that enter
it's
your
just
mind?
a fantastic guitar solo.
Okay.
The chord structure underneath it is amazing. The note choice is amazing. The pace, how he paced himself, and was just everything hit really well. And the tone is incredible. It's very robust. If I'm not mistaken, it was a Strat, and it's kind of hard to get those things to sound as robust as he did. And I'm sure it was just some stock Strat, but for the novelty of it.
Of course. So by stock Strat, you mean like just your basic Strat. What's the full name?
Fender Stratocaster.
Yeah. Stratocaster. Thank you. Yes, I'm not well versed in the terminology of guitar, but
that's okay. Sorry,
yes.
And I forget.
But a stock Strat would be like what you get. They go in the back room to get your guitar. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. See, I'm learning.
Got it. Yeah,
I got it. Okay. Time, Dark Side of the Moon. That's Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's
a
favorite of yours. I love Pink Floyd.
Yeah, I mean, not like super top of the list. That was just one that kind of popped out in my head just now, I guess. But I mean, I don't really like the way Les Pauls play or anything like that. I don't like the way they feel. But I'm sure there's one out there for me,
Well, yeah, because it's subjective too. Like you said at your first thing, you said you want to get really picky with it. So like obviously feel and tension, or I don't know the words, but of course just how you generally like how it holds you and how you hold it has to be very intimate personal experience. And if you know that
extension of my being.
And you don't sometimes the Les Paul isn't gonna keep you warm at night. It's not gonna cuddle you nice enough. And, it's not gonna be.
Right. Yeah.
No.
So that's my answer. That's the long answer to that.
Okay. Thank you. That's great. Yeah. I wanted to know because imagine like one day you just have like $500,000, just blow whatever guitar you want or more.
If I had $500,000 to spend on just a guitar,
or like a setup.
yeah,
What would you?
yeah,
Right.
that's crazy. My mind immediately goes to buy property in the house.
Well, yeah, obviously, like, yeah, but for the sake of the question.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course.
I mean, I guess I don't, it's crazy like being asked stuff like that because
It's
I don't even
grandiose.
I don't even think about that. Like
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
if I had all the money in the world, because it's just not realistic for me, and
I
I don't
understand.
think like that, But it's
Yeah.
cool to think about. It's cool to ponder.
It's a good podcast question. It's like, okay, if you had like
Yeah,
$1 million, what would you do? Like,
yeah.
I respect that your mind went to feeding your people, land and shelter, and I respect that.
Yeah, we're trying to build empires or whatever.
Precisely. Build, yeah.
Just a farmstead would be nice.
That's the name of the game. Honestly, yeah. Yes. That is a goal. I was creeping your Facebook as one does when they want to do research and are interested in somebody. And I
Yeah.
found either it's just you don't have many photos or you don't have many of them. But how extensive is your onesie collection?
Dude, so my mom has this joke that every year for Christmas, we all stay at her house for Christmas Eve, and we kind of haven't been doing it. We didn't do it last year, but I guess we will this year. But for the last like 6 or 7 years or something like that, and she used to just get us all pajama bottoms, but then she switched to matching onesies when I was like 21 or something like that. So she gets us different ones every year, and I have just all these Christmas onesies, And usually my brother doesn't want his, so I'll take his too. And then I'll have 2 pairs of like all these different onesies, and sometimes like I'm all drunk, we'll play dress up or whatever, and it's fun.
Yeah. It's good for when Halloween comes around and you're scrambling. Okay, right on. So it's a family affair. That's really beautiful. Okay.
It's my mom. It's all my mom's practical joke, and us satisfying her sick.
And you just indulge it and enable it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's love. That's love.
Yeah.
So how many would you say you've racked up so far? Like 5 or 6?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because okay, since you're just 21. All right. Because I noticed, I'm like, man, the other doesn't know how to put together outfits or loves a zipper. Loves a good zip. Just loves it.
Yeah, one of my favorite pictures was when we were doing this Christmas event. And I was dressed up like an elf, and I was like on stage. They brought in recliners for the stage, and like just like set it up and like made it this like whole Christmas thing. And I remember just like a few of my friends were like playing. They were doing, I don't know, some Christmas song or whatever. And I was sitting there just like drinking beer in this onesie, like on stage. It was so nice. My friend Nuri's like looking back, he's like playing bass. That picture's on there.
Yeah. I saw it. You look comfy. Yeah.
Yes, I love my onesies.
Of course. Okay, so that completes my questioning.
Wait, I have one for you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because then there's always room for discussion.
Yeah, if you had $1 million, what would you do?
What would I do with $1 million?
Yeah.
In the context of music or general?
Nope, in general.
In general?
If somebody gave you $1,000 cash, or they wired half of it into your bank account, and then you had the other half in cash, what would you do?
$1 million. Okay. I would lobby to get all the golf courses eliminated because they're useless.
Yeah.
And I would have enough power to have influence. Pardon, sorry.
Just make them public land.
Yeah, fucking put homes on there, sell them for $1. Yeah, that's actually what I would do. So I'd eliminate all the golf courses because they're useless. And then sell them for a fucking $1. And then everyone who lives in the community can suck it.
That's amazing.
If it brings down the property value, that's fine. Come to me, I'll pay the difference. Fuck yourself. Sorry. Sorry. No. I'm just getting too.
I love it. No, yeah.
It's just frustrating. And then, but also, yeah. But on the non-Randy side of things, I would definitely try to. Okay, so my biggest thing in general is the true goal of any boss, a real boss, is to make sure that your family eats, like the people around you are fed, like they're getting paid. Like if you're creating jobs for people, then you're a true boss. So that's my ultimate goal. So ultimately, I would love if I had, realistically, if I had that budget, I would turn Visio not just into a magazine and not just into a venue, a physical location where artists can come out and rent space, but I would try to actually be the Johnson & Johnson of artist spaces, where I actually am the host. I work, rather than working with artists and musicians directly, I would work with galleries already to then participate in my building and in what Visio is. And so it's not a really refined idea because I don't really know myself what it looks like right now, but I can feel it. I can feel it. And I know to hear it as a bystander, it's like, she has no idea what she's talking about. And I do and I don't. But at the same time, there's this feeling inside of me that's like, I need to be the main headquarters for print screen shops, and I want to be like a mall for artists. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, when you go to the mall and there's one store and that one store sells one thing. So that store could be like magazines that are already happening, and they deal directly with artists who want to submit their work, or directly with merchandisers who want to sell their specific product. But I want to be the mall. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah. So that's what I would try to do, is have a huge fucking complex. It's like a huge arts rec center where there are already studios, but there are actually stores and actual galleries and like a museum. And it's already just there. It's just there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All in one spot. So that's obviously if I had the money, but I would love to be able to make that happen just through
you could totally do that. Would be so cool. So you'd be like, WeWork.
No.
Have you heard of WeWork?
No, I haven't.
It's a company that they have offices, they have buildings all over the country, mostly in major cities, and they host the office. It's not like hosting office space, it's like working spaces.
Yeah.
And they in different buildings, they'll compartmentalize it differently. Like there'll be a floor for a specific medium.
Got it.
Or whatever, social media or whatever. And Red Bull has the top floor, and they have a floor for the creative people, and and it's kind of sectionalized like that. But it's way more private, So I can see what you're saying, and it would be way like you can make it so cool, just be so sweet. You'd have to move to a big old city.
And that's the thing too. Every time you were saying, when you go on the trips and you come back, you're like, I have to find a way to make it out there. Every time I come home from Toronto, I can't leave. I can't go back. The fuck am I doing out here? I'm going from a city of 2 million to fucking town of 100,000. But
okay.
you have, but I say that like that, not because I say it all riled up because that's the feeling I have when I'm there, when I'm driving home, when my hands are on the wheel and Toronto's behind me, and my shit city with all my ex-boyfriends and everyone who I can run into is right in front of me. You know what I mean? And it's like I have to go home to that. But inside, I know that if you keep that vision alive, it will come to pass. It has to, because if that's the only thing you can know or feel, it has to come to pass eventually. But you also have to put in the hard work. So yeah, thanks for asking me that question, because it definitely opened my mind.
That's sweet. That's such a good answer. That's like so cool. Just in finding ways for different kinds of creatives to be together, you know?
Yeah, like a commune for creatives, but in an
Yeah,
industrialized setting.
right. And figuring out, I guess, how to monetize that.
And that's the thing too, and that would come from space rentals and camps and studios and royalties and you know,
Yeah,
the general hoo-has of it all, the whatnots of it all.
yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, and also, yeah, land and shit, obviously, just because, obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, and like give it to family and stuff. But you said, oh, actually, you said yourself that you're interested in family and having this kind of the life that includes a sense of serenity or some sort of structure. Is that something you're looking forward to, is being able to, because again, a good leader has a successor, someone who is in training a successor. Are you looking forward to be able, in the potentiality of having children, having someone to teach that music to and kind of having a lineage to carry on? Do you plan on keeping music alive in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna, if I am so blessed to have children someday, I'm not gonna push it on them. I would only hope to promote an environment.
That's yeah,
You know.
yeah. It's not like you're gonna force them to like Royal Conservatory piano classes, but they're gonna see like a role model playing the guitar or something. Just have it in general.
Yeah, and I'll you know, I want to make it fun for them and accessible for them. You know, that's like that's one thing I think in the back of my mind when I'm teaching.
Yeah.
That I have now is, you know, how can I find a way to explain this to like a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old?
Yeah.
You know, and like get it through to make it fun so that they can speak that language in the same way that they're speaking English, you know. You know, my dad was hard on me with it. He was like, if you can't play this in the dark in the garage, like I'm gonna whoop your ass. You know,
shit. It was like a Whiplash movie situation.
It was a little intense, you know. Which I get, you know. I mean, a lot of it's me like learning guitar and shit is hard.
Yeah.
You know, the piano is hard.
Guitar is harder than piano, by far.
Yeah, I think so too.
Far.
I think so too. They both have their things, but you know, getting it under your hands, you know, is different. But yeah, you know, and if they want to do totally different things, then that's on them. But I don't know. You know, I feel like my kids are gonna want to do that.
Like be naturally inclined, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure just like me, they're gonna like want to try other things and like see what's out there, and then, you know, hopefully come back to the music thing, you know.
Yeah.
But who knows? I have no idea, you know. I mean, whatever happens with that, you know, I look forward to, and I think I'll be able to handle whatever, you know.
Of course. And yeah, for now, as you said, I was going to also mention your students right now seem to be a great way to teach and to leave a legacy in a sense of just being able to transfer knowledge and information, even though it's basic, even though it's what you need to learn. It's teaching it as well, right?
Yeah, you know, with my students, you know, especially, you know, my ones that are younger than I am, or even older ones too, we have, you know, great conversations just about like stuff outside of music, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Or it allows me to tell stories. So like the lesson that we're working on, I can like go back to that point in my life, and talk about that, or talk about, if they know this knowledge, how it would be cool for them to integrate it into their life in ways that they can do that, whether it's for themselves or in a group setting, or, um, but yeah, being able to like have that, like, yeah, I don't have like kids myself, but I am passing on knowledge and life experience, and
Yeah.
um,
And if you look at the two factors that do constitute a boss and a leader, one I've mentioned is you make sure the people around you you're creating jobs. And two, it's you're training a successor. And I honestly, you're doing both of those things.
trying to.
You're in your own way. It's not as precise as that. It's not so much as like a politician or a king would be doing, creating jobs and training a successor. You know what I mean? But
Right. I don't run
it's
that type of ship.
but in such that with your collective and your collaboration, you say, of course, they're your best friends, but you want to make sure they're paid, and you make sure that the work and the quality of the work that you do can support that. And so box one is checked off. Two, with your teaching, not only two can be separated then into A and B. So A is sharing music on YouTube and just writing music in general and allowing the audio, like masses, to hear it. But then also teaching and making sure that there will be musicians after you as well. And in your own way, you're doing your part in that. So
Yeah.
box number 2 checked. So good job, Elijah.
Thanks. I appreciate that. That's really cool. That makes me feel really good. Thank you.
Yeah, you should feel really good. You deserve it. You're a great person.
You too.
Thanks. Try.
I love our conversations.
Me too. I sound so sarcastic, but I do. Just sometimes emotion gets the best of me. So, yeah. That is all I had for. Yeah, I had onesie collection written down, and that was my last thing.
That cracks me up. That's wonderful.
I wanted to know. Yeah, I saw. So, okay. So I'm just going to wrap this up succinctly, and then I'm just going to end the recording.
Okay.
So, Elijah, where can we find you on Instagram and online?
At ELIJAHRUSS on Instagram. And then my website, elijahruss.com. I don't take care of my Facebook page, my like business one or whatever, and I'm not really gonna do that anymore. So Instagram is good.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Instagram and then online, but Instagram has that link tree, which is Instagram's kind of like a home base for everything that you have.
Yeah. So and then the link in my bio, you can find like that'll take you to my website and like Spotify or iTunes or Amazon Music or whatever you listen to, and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I forgot to mention, actually, I wanted to discuss kind of the process of it, and we still can if you would like, but we can also check out your song Mind Your Business, which was released September 24th, 2019, I want to say.
Wow.
And that was done proper quality recording with the collective, with keyboard players and vocalists, drummers, horn players. So that is on your YouTube. You are also on YouTube, Elijah Russ.
Yeah.
Your YouTube page. So personally, I listened to that song. It is amazing. I know that the style of, I listened to it. It's fucking amazing. Don't blame me anything. It was amazing. I'm not saying you're copying. I'm not saying anything. I'm saying it was like I was watching, those Snarky Puppies videos that are so popular. I'm like, this guy knows what he's fucking doing. Like, you get it. Like, that was entertaining to watch. It was great.
Oh, that's
And
great. That's
a
great.
really well written song. But
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Your hat's not gonna fit tomorrow. Your head's gonna be so big. All these comments.
Yes, please inflate my ego always. I appreciate it. I need it every now and again.
So again, yes, I would say that yeah, Mind Your Business is a great song to check out, but all your songs are fabulous on your YouTube. So again, Elijah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking with me. It was great speaking to you before, and I'm glad we were able to do it again. So
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you. Shout out to Matt. Sorry we couldn't see you, dude.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Hopefully he gets better. And yes.
All right. I'll
All
talk to you
right.
soon.
Okay, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.